What were the real Middle Ages? A 1,000-year story of collapse and rebirth, of faith and violence, of darkness and dazzling light. This is the epic sweeping history of medieval Europe. It begins with the fall of a giant. In the 4th and 5th centuries, the Roman Empire in the West, strained by internal crisis and external pressure, fractured. So-called barbarian tribes, Goths, Franks, Vandals, crossed the frontiers, not just to raid, but to settle and build their own kingdoms. As Roman political order vanished, one institution stood firm: the Christian Church. It preserved Roman administration, Latin literacy, and a sense of unified Christendom. As the historian Judith Bennett outlines, this fusion of Roman, Christian, and Germanic cultures laid the very foundation of medieval society. From the rubble, new Germanic kingdoms emerged. Their warrior ethos blended with Roman law and, crucially, with Christianity. The conversion of kings like the Frankish Clovis transformed these tribes into the Catholic nuclei of future European states. But in the East, the Roman Empire never fell. The Byzantine Empire, with its capital in Constantinople, thrived as a Christian, Greek-speaking heir to Rome. For 1,000 years, it was a bastion of classical learning and a formidable power, even as the West fragmented. In the West, a new Roman-style empire briefly flickered to life. Charlemagne, king of the Franks, forged a vast realm through conquest. On Christmas Day 800, the Pope crowned him Holy Roman Emperor. As Barbara Rosenwein describes, his Carolingian Renaissance spurred a revival of art, learning, and culture, a conscious effort to rebuild Rome. But Charlemagne's empire was built on personal loyalty. After his death, it was divided among his grandsons. Just as it fragmented, new invaders struck. Vikings from the north, Magyars from the east, and Saracens from the south. Europe plunged into a new age of danger and decentralization. This crisis gave birth to feudalism. With no central authority, society organized for local defense. Lords in their castles granted land or fiefs to vassals, knights, in return for military service. At the bottom were the serfs, bound to the land. As Mark Bloch masterfully analyzed, this wasn't a formal system, but a web of personal bonds that defined political and social life. By the 11th century, the tides began to turn. A warmer climate and new technology like the heavy plow led to an agricultural revolution. The population boomed, trade revived, and with it, a new class of merchants and artisans emerged in growing towns. This wealth and stability fueled an intellectual hunger, leading to the founding of the first universities. This new energy and confidence turned outward in a great wave of expansion. Pope Urban II launched the Crusades to reclaim the Holy Land, a bloody collision of worlds. In Spain, Christians slowly reconquered the peninsula from Muslim rulers, the Reconquista. And as Robert Bartlett shows in The Making of Europe, German settlers pushed eastward, colonizing vast new territories. Europe was on the march. At the heart of this society was the Church. It was the era of the great Gothic cathedrals, stone Bibles reaching for heaven. The papacy grew in power, claiming authority over kings, while monastic orders like the Cistercians sought to reform the faith from within. This papal power led to epic clashes with secular rulers, like the investiture controversy. But kings were also consolidating their own power. In England, the nobility forced King John to sign the Magna Carta in 1215, a landmark step toward the rule of law and limited government. Then, in 1347, paradise was lost. The Black Death arrived from Asia, killing perhaps half of Europe. The trauma was unimaginable. As Aviad Kleinberg poignantly notes, it shattered the medieval worldview, fostering a morbid obsession with death and challenging the very authority of a church that could not stop the suffering. The social and economic old order was dead. The late Middle Ages were defined by crisis and transformation. The 100 Years' War saw the rise of professional armies and gunpowder, making the knight obsolete. In 1453, Constantinople fell to the Ottomans, sending shockwaves through Europe. But from this ferment, a new world was born. The need for new trade routes would soon spark an age of exploration. And Johannes Gutenberg's printing press democratized knowledge, fueling the fires of the Renaissance. The Middle Ages did not end with a bang, but transformed, leaving behind the foundations of the modern world.